from Biafra's Got Talent. We are letting Biafrans know the reason why we should remember those who gave their lives for us, those who died that we may live.
You died to end my suffering. You died fighting for my freedom. Your blood is the seed of redemption. You are my inspiration.
The deed no wrong, but them military shots at them. 67 to 70, we remember them. 2016, 38 May, memory still lives in our mind till today. Wonder why they refuse to publicize the genocide. The world media turn blind eyes to our plight. It's time to arise, land of the rising sun. Let's rise one more time, let's rise.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes, those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Ipocha massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Tell them I got that day. Remember when me tell you say I got that day. Yeah, I remember that one that called us a Bruce Mero. But the way you go like a Papa Nuku. But them they will go hero. Me tell you what I look pandi, what pandi Samiro. Me tell you what I day. For me that all and the rest of man I tell you what I do. Me know that you come me tell them
heroes, I want to promise you something today. We must fight together, no retreat and no surrender. We must hold them down till the end of time. The most important thing is that we will restore Biafra. May your soul rest in peace.
And I look up to the sky with tears in my eyes. For other Biafrans and for freedom had to die. We will never forget you as the days go by. You are always in my heart, you'll never be apart. They fought for our freedom, they died for our freedom. They fought the Nigerian soldiers in the war front, without food, without guns, for our freedom, for our life, for our own good, for our children. We love them, our heroes, we want them.
My heart bleeds when I saw them slain. Where will I be now if not then? They will remain indelible in my heart forever, 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 and ever, and ever, and ever.
We serve in your plantation, and the way you paid us back with your bloody starvation. We play in our history that the death of my people is a mystery. No going back to get to a victory. I had a voice now call for vengeance. I never get bombed, I'ma blow like a vengeance.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes, those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Ipocha massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Where will I be now? If not you, you died at Mali.
They were starved to death because of our freedom, and they paid the debt for our freedom. Flag high for those that died in the genocide, fighting for you and I. There is pain in the heart, we bleeding inside, tears in the eyes, so I'm falling here.
This is for my fallen heroes. Keep them on the patient people. It's like I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Cause to be a cast, I need to be a nurse. If we did not retire,
They paid the ultimate price. They died for me, for the freedom of my unborn child. We live for the legacy.
be free. March on, cause we are more than conquerors. Yeah, you know what it is. We must revenge, and we must stand to represent who we are.
Fight on, brave boys, fight on, heroes of our fatherland. Pursue the enemy, harass him, destroy the invader. March on, brave boys, now that victory is in sight. March on and hasten the disintegration of the enemy already set in motion.
Fighting a war, knowing the difficulties, the odds against us, there is an element of fatalism, people feeling, well, if the world chooses to abandon us, then perhaps it is better we all perish. They don't ever consider a Biafra not free. They believe in either Biafra free or no Biafra at all. That means none of us living to see it.
I need Biafra freedom. We Biafrans, we need Biafra freedom. For this, I decided, even to die, that Biafra must have its own freedom.
I want us to work systematically towards the establishment of a good, progressive, and democratic society where all vestiges of privilege and social injustice will be abolished, and the rich contribute more for the welfare of the poor. If civil war comes, and I do think it is imminent, you're quite right, it will for us be the price of freedom. Our people here have for a long time been prepared for this eventuality, and I am confident of their readiness. I think that when it does come, that the people on the other side would be surprised as to what they're going to get. And I'm confident that it will not last long.
We'll surely come out as a nation because we're fighting a just cause. Even a little child on the street will tell you this. We shall never go back to Nigeria again. God's grace will surely emerge as a nation. And so, as far as this war continues, we'll fight to the last man.
This is what Biafra is, the end of the journey for a persecuted, massacred, pursued people. We have made all attempts at a democratic resolution of this crisis. I have offered open elections, plebiscite. I have offered just an open carte blanche suggestion, anybody who can find a democratic way of finding out the wishes of the people, let him suggest it and we will go for it.
Another Savior,
holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior, holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior, holy, holy.
If you do not believe in what we are doing, then you better get out. We're not going to stop. God knows we can never stop until Biafra is restored. We are peace-loving people. We abhor death and killing of another soul. It's in our nature, that's how we are. But because of that, they have been coming and killing us all these years. We've kept quiet. They've been killing and killing and killing quiet. We have a case at the ICC. We have a case at Africa Union. We have a case at what else again? Pending before the UN in New York. We've been to Geneva to tender our case. Before UN, till today, nothing. In fact, the more we complain to them, the more they come to abduct and rape our children, the more they come to kill us, the more they want to take over our land and our forests. And who told them that's going to be possible in our time? In a movement that I lead. You think you can come into our land and take it over? Oh dear. That means you don't know who we are.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's our evening program, and we are going to do it as fast as we can. Remember, evening is just a revision and also going into the conventional media to show what is happening in the media. And as you know, you already know that the situation of Nigeria is getting worse. The kidnapping, the insecurity, the attacks, the banditry is getting worse. And the government of the day doesn't care about it. They don't care. Now they are kidnapping even their APC members. They are kidnapping senators. They are kidnapping important personalities. And remember, we warned them, but they didn't listen. They called us miscreant. They called us noisemaker. They called us troublemakers. They called us tribal bigot. But today, every single thing we have been crying about online, that Mazen Nandekano started crying about, and we picked up from there and began to speak about it. Today, it is happening everywhere. And I bet you it is going to get worse. Just like we are talking about the solution and nobody seems to pay attention. Nobody seems to listen to us. They don't care. They feel we are noisemakers. When we are warning them to take care, to stop this terrorism, they didn't stop it, and now it is getting to the highest level. The same way we are telling them now to conduct a peaceful referendum, allow people to go their separate way peacefully. They don't want to listen. Mazen Nandekano said that if you do not allow a peaceful referendum, a time will come when you will even call for that referendum and people will not listen to you. A time will come when the situation will be so chaotic that you won't know where to start. And we're getting to that point. As for the international community, we know they are always late. They are always late. Whenever there is tragedy, they always come when the lives of people are lost, when millions of lives are lost. So if you're one of those who is still hoping on the international community, prepare yourself, embrace yourself, and pray that you'll be alive when they come. We saw what happened in Kosovo. They were late. We saw what happened in Rwanda. They were late. You saw Southern Sudan. They were late. Even the Jewish Holocaust, they were late. And that is the situation. Everywhere where there have been dispute, they are always late. And in the case of Nigeria, will even be worse. As we speak, thousands are dying every day. Thousands are being kidnapped on a daily basis. And nobody seems to make any statement or make any move to stop it. And they think it's ordinary. No problem. We will all be here, I'll be watching, and we'll see how it will all end up. The only thing we owe you here, the only thing I owe you here is to continue to give you updates, continue to create awareness, and to continue to make sure that you are paying attention to what is happening. So that by your own self, you could be able to protect yourself and take decisions on what to do. For some of you who are still planning of election, I am sorry, you might not be alive to see that election happen. First of all, pray that you are alive. It is not about Peter Obi. It is not about Peter Oke. It is not about anybody. It is not about whoever becomes the president. What matters today is how to stay alive. That is what matters today. What matters today is how to stay alive. But unfortunately, the people in that contraption don't care. They don't seem to understand. I don't know why they are so nonchalant about the whole situation. They are not paying attention. They don't care. Even those of us who are far away care more than they do in that contraption. People are still going about their businesses as if they don't know what is happening. We see videos. There are many of the videos I cannot play here. You will see the preparation of these terrorists. The automatic machine gun they have, not one, not two, not enough, not 10, not 20, not 30. You can imagine when they enter a village with those automatic machine guns, what will happen. And when we warn about these issues, people will continue to pretend all is well. No problem. We are going to see it happen. You will see it, I will see it. Whoever survives, glory be to Chukwu, will carry on. But as for we to stop talking, we will not stop talking. We will continue to speak. We will continue to call the attention of the international community and continue to expose what is happening. So let us go to their media and let me show you what they have in their media, as we always do. Our responsibility is to bring information from their media. Make it easier for you to pay attention, because some of us are not paying attention to the Zoom media. And I don't know how you can be able to stand what is coming without paying attention to the Zoom media. It is very important to pay attention to the Zoom media. You must pay attention. This is not about whether you like them or you don't like them. For you to be able to know what is coming and how to avoid it and how to stay safe, you must listen to their media. Even if you are not in the Zoom, you have families over there. You must listen to know how to prepare on what is coming, because it's going to affect everybody. Whether you are living at home or abroad, it's going to affect anybody. So I want us to pay attention to this very information that is coming from the media. And let's hear what they have to say. And we make contribution where necessary. Let's watch.
We've been tracking your conversations on X, Facebook, our YouTube live feed, and of course, Leke, the #1 social media platform. And 3 stories are dominating your timelines this morning. At #1, shocking scenes from Ibadan. The sister of former Minister of Power, Bayo Adelabu, abducted, along with her 12-year-old twin sons, with the moment of the kidnapping caught on camera. At #2, we have First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, at the center of a social media storm after launching the Tinubu Torchbearers political mobilization group, even as school children kidnapped in Oyo State remain in captivity, with Nigerians online asking one question: can there be celebration without rescue? And at #3, Nollywood actor Emeka Ike is demanding full public apology from FCT Minister Wike's aide, Larry Olayinka, after he posted screenshots of the actor's private INEC voter data online. We have all that coming to you now. This is where you come in. Join the conversation. Use the hashtag What's Trending with Ojiokwe. Comment on our live feed, and of course, Leke, tell me which of these stories matters most to you. Because for the next hour, we're going into everything that has Nigeria and the rest of the world buzzing. But first, a powerful moment on the floor of the Nigerian Senate on Tuesday, as Senator Adam Soshomole delivered a scathing challenge to his colleagues during plenary debate on insecurity across the country. Let's take a look.
We all admitted we were shocked about one kidnapping that took place in Kebbi. And it was reported, and the governor of Kebbi State cried aloud that military personnel that were in that particular school were ordered to be withdrawn. And about 40 minutes later, the kidnappers came and cut away about 200, I can't remember exactly the number of children. His Senate, under your leadership, we passed a resolution that the military high command should disclose the name of that officer, the action that had been taken against him, to satisfy us that that action was not willful, or that people who are entrusted to protect us, that some of them have not become part of our problem. Mr. President, I have always tried to be present in every day that this thing is sit. As I speak, I am not aware that we have not given a response to that simple inquiry. If the armed forces is not accountable, if we do not carry out due audit and oversight on resources that we have all been blackmailed to appropriate to protect Nigeria, and we come here lamenting that the things is now taking over the country, I think we need to do more than that. We need to carry out security audit. Money appropriated. Who got what? How was it used? And I still insist that this Senate is entitled to have a reply to the question we unanimously ask. Who withdraw those people for the children to be carted away?
No, Shomale has called for a full audit of defense spending, warning that without accountability, resolutions mean nothing. But not a single senator seconded his motion. His motion was dropped. Nigeria is burying kidnapped victims, watching teachers plead from captivity. And yet, when one senator asks where the defense billions are going, the chamber goes silent. Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayomide. Good morning, our favorite Nigerian. Yes, Dr. Abati, you disappeared yesterday. I hope it wasn't so one there. You know, I always say that. But you know, I mean, to just lighten up this morning, because of course the nation is mourning, and you can hear from Madame Sushomali's powerful condemnation, basically, of the defense spending, the billions that have been spent on military equipment, and they're not being accounted for. He also touched on the very sensitive nature of our military. In Kebbi, we had that situation where the military was withdrawn, and still we don't have accountability. Who did that? Who made the call? Your thoughts?
Well, I think those are legitimate questions that have been posed by Senator Adams Shomole. First, I think on this table, when we were discussing the incident in Kebbi, we also said that, why would anybody withdraw, the troops when there was a very clear danger and there was an alert and there was concern within the community, and that who made that call, and that person should be known. It's all part of the process of accountability. And so when the senator stands up and he says, this Senate, when it passes a resolution, that resolution, we should get a feedback on it. The only caveat is that a resolution does not have the force of law. So, a legislative body can say this is our resolution, but it's not as if that has the force of law, because it's not a piece of legislation. It's just an opinion of that body. But if it says, yes, we would like to have a feedback, does the National Assembly itself, does it have a mechanism for, or the capacity for getting that requested feedback? But as Nigerians, we would like to hear about that feedback. The most substantive issue that Senator Adams Shomole raised has to do with the issue of defense spending. And this is not the first time he's raising the point. Previously, he had said some army generals, either retired or serving, they were building universities and structures in their hometowns at a time when Nigeria was having very serious security challenges, and that he, as a representative of the people, would like to know how is the money, being spent for defense. And that consistently, defense has always received the lion's share of Nigeria's annual budget. And I made the point earlier that yes, he's right. It's part of the responsibility of the legislature. Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution gives them oversight powers and authority to ask questions, to do appropriation, and to also ask on behalf of we, the long-suffering people of Nigeria, how our money is being spent. And that the armed forces of Nigeria cannot be placed above the laws of the land. Even the armed forces is answerable to the people of Nigeria. And so if Senator Shomole insists that we want to know how they are spending these resources they are being given, I think it's on the right lane. And what is unfortunate is that I heard that that motion was shut down by the National Assembly.
Very poor.
So, we don't want the National Assembly to sleep on its responsibility.
Yes.
It should be awake to its responsibility and to ask questions, whether from a field marshal in the Nigerian military or from whoever is in that military. They are accountable to the people.
All right.
We're in a civilian dispensation. This is not a military dispensation.
Well said, Dr. Abati. Thank you. Ogun State. Solidarity is on full display. Hundreds of young people, nursing mothers, teachers, traders, and civil society advocates trooped out into the streets of Abeokuta, marching through major roads carrying placards reading, "They must be free. They're not animals. Stop insecurity. Enough is enough. And bring back our children." The demonstration was a show of solidarity for the 47 students and teachers still in captivity following the Orile school abduction in Oyo State. Let's take a look. The protesters in Abeokuta captured the national mood perfectly. And the Christian Association of Nigeria has also now designated Sunday, June 14th as Black Sunday to honor all those killed or affected by terrorism, kidnapping, and violence across Nigeria. The streets are speaking and the nation is listening. Yesterday, we took videos from across the country, from Bayelsa to Lagos. Now we're seeing in Ogun State, even yesterday, I believe also in Ogun State, there was that force, that show of force, I believe at the Secretariat and all of that. Nigerians are out there and they are demanding answers. Your thoughts?
And you will see by the number of people who came out to protest and the songs and the chants that they were singing that Nigerians have had enough. There have been appeals that have been made. There have been videos, there have been concerted efforts, yet it doesn't seem like the response from the government is commensurate to the scale of insecurity that Nigeria currently faces at the moment. And so you would see that this was peaceful to a very large, by all intents and purposes, it was peaceful. But yesterday I said, Oji, that we don't want to get to a point where there's a breakdown of law and order as a result of the sheer despondency of the people and the feeling of hopelessness and the feeling of having no other option but to take on the streets and to defend themselves in this regard. That's not what the government wants. It's already a stain on the administration to have this scale of insecurity, the number of kidnapped people, and in particular children who are still in captivity since the 15th of May. We do not want to be holding a 1 month, remembrance of the date of their captivity. What does it take for them to find these criminals, to rescue the children, whatever it takes, to show and demonstrate seriousness in tackling this issue? And so this is Ogun State now. We don't want this to cascade across the country. We want to contain this across different quarters. Nigerian Union of Teachers, the NLC has threatened industrial strike action. That is literally bringing the nation to its knees economically. That is compounded problems on top of what we are facing in insecurity. Please, let's not get to that point. The people are well within their rights. They are frustrated. They are tired. It doesn't seem like anything concrete is being done. But the government can contain this matter. But I'd like to just plead with the people on the final note. We don't want to compound the issues. We want to ensure that things remain peaceful. Let's not heat up the polity. Let's ensure that Nigeria does not become ungovernable. Things are already happening. Let us ensure that we're able to keep the protest peaceful, get your voices heard, and let the government respond to the voice of its people.
Yes, very well said. Get your voices heard. Bring our children back home. Let's now take reactions trailing the abduction of former Minister of Power, Bayo Adelabu's younger sister, and her 12-year-old twins seized by gunmen in Ibadan. At 7:30 in the morning, Mrs. Olaide Busayo Adegoke John Paul, aged 43, was on her way to drop her twin sons, Peter and Paul, at the school when the assailants struck. Reports indicate the gunmen drilled the family's vehicle from their residence before intercepting it and forcing the victims away at gunpoint. Videos showing the exact moment of the kidnapping have gone viral on social media. Let's take a look.
Those are kidnappers. We just kidnap some people from this car. We just kidnap some people from this car. They are hoping to watch me.
No, I don't kidnap the lady. I mean, no woman. What the one lady either? Say many any. One, láti mọ̀ ẹ pè wọ́n. Ẹ kọ́ pẹ̀lú ọmọ pẹ̀.
Now been by the Oyo State Police Command have recovered the victim's vehicle from the scene and deploying intensive operations to locate them. Oyo APC has also condemned the abduction, urging Governor Makinde to act decisively, noting that this latest attack comes amid unresolved kidnappings of over 40 school children and teachers, well, a former minister's family. A school run, now captivity. Oyo State is crying out, Vimbai, and I want to take a reaction on X before I come to you. And this is from MBJ. They wrote, "This is not bandits from the bush. This is organized, local, and very deliberate. The fact that a former minister's family is not safe in Ibadan tells you everything about where we are. If your connection to Asoro cannot protect your sister and her 12-year-old boys on a school run, then what exactly is the government providing? Sheyi Makinde needs to answer for Oyo. Tinubu needs to answer for Nigeria. Both of them need to answer."
That's very well said. There's so many questions that need to be answered on different levels. But I mean, I don't want to go as far as, affirming that this is targeted or whatever while the investigation is ongoing. What we do know is that the police have launched a manhunt. And this has ruffled a lot of feathers because people are asking, well, how long did it take for us to launch a manhunt into the children that were abducted and that remain in captivity? So there's some concerns around, well, when it's an elite that is afflicted, it seems the response is a lot faster than when it's just a regular citizen. Nevertheless, this now begins to depict what we've been saying this time and time again, which is that this is getting closer and closer to home. That at this point, nobody is safe. That's what we've been saying since this week started, that none of us here on this table, nobody sitting anywhere in their bubble is safe from this, because these people have become so emboldened, and it seems that there's almost a sense of overwhelming for our security structures. That's why the points that are being made are very important. Can we audit the military and find out whether the finances are going where they're supposed to be going? If not, let's rejig it to ensure that the money is going where it's supposed to be going. We already know that the military is not even getting the full spending that they are supposed to of the allocated budget. They only got 26% in 2025. Beyond that, you look at the police. How effective are the police? We've been talking about state police. They said they'll expedite state police. Oh, they'll expedite. We've heard repetitious statements about expediting the process of instituting state police and National Assembly. Yet here we are. The National Assembly nevertheless continues to play into the role of what I call performative sympathy. You come every day, oh, we are so sorry. Oh, so sorry. Oh, they're not helpless. They have the authority to do the necessary actions, take the necessary actions that can create some form of reprieve. The solutions are available. Oh, we discuss them all the time. Now let's implement them now. And those who say state police won't work, well, let's try it, because it doesn't seem like we have any other option now. Fast track it. Let's try it and see if it will make a difference.
Right. Speaking about state police, Dr. Abati, I'd like for you to also comment on this Adilabu story, but I'd like to take this so you can tie both of them together. Meanwhile, a trending video from Osun State is offering a rare moment of relief. A clip circulating widely on social media, gathering over 468,000 views, reportedly shows the arrest of suspected bandits led by local security operatives alongside two traditional chiefs in Obokun local government area of the state. Let's take a look. Well, the vigilante, they're claiming that these boys have ruined their farmlands, but there's no confirmation whether or not they are bandits. But this comes as Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke announced on Tuesday that he has mobilized security forces and hunters to protect communities, bringing together former security commanders and grassroots paramilitary forces to work side by side. A bold move. And Osun State is showing that communities don't have to wait for the federal government to act. Local action, local results. Your thoughts, Dr. Abati?
Okay, very quickly. Now, more and more people are now resorting to self-help. They are resorting to vigilante action simply because they do not think that the state agencies are doing enough to protect them. And that will have been the motivation for these local chiefs, hunters, leading a group, to pursue information that they had some bandits within their neighborhood in that Obokun local government area of Osun State. It's called Obokun. When you mention Obokun, there is a particular type of fish they call Obokun. So I said, it's too early to get hungry because that's a special delicacy. They're being serious now. They went in there and they arrested these two, herdsmen. They may say they are defending themselves, but if you look at the politics of Nigeria, some other people will say these are, entrepreneurs, cattle rearers, herding their cattle, and that until we solve the problem of grazing, of cattle ranching in this country, some of these, herdsmen, you really cannot stop them from earning a living. Even if some of them, you graze openly on the streets of the Federal Capital Territory and other capitals, and they will say that they have as much right as any other Nigerian to run their business. But I think the good thing is that, there was somebody there saying, don't beat them, let us report them to the police. And they actually took them to the police. And I think that, the people of that community, these hunters, they behaved decently.
Yes.
They did not, take the law into their hands. They did not, engage in jungle justice, which would have resulted in reprisals.
Yes.
And I think that, if people just say, okay, these people are suspicious, you report them to the police and let the police do their job, that should be a proper conduct. However, the federal government, President Tinubu, has deployed more forest guards. I think 10,000, is it to your state? Maybe other places should also have forest guards, to protect the environment. As for the other issue that you raised about former Minister Adelabu's sister, the simple thing would be to say, it's because it's in politics. No, but that's not the way to analyze issues like that. It's not good to jump to conclusions. That's why we call for an investigation to find out exactly what happened. But it's also an indication that nobody is safe. Whether you are the relation of a former minister or you are an army general, as happened in the case of General Rabi Abubakar, who was going to a wedding event in Katsina State, and he was abducted along with his wife. Up till now, we have not had any report that he has been found. Now, this whole country called Nigeria cannot become a Bermuda Triangle.
No, it can't.
From the north to the south, where people will just be disappearing.
No.
If they don't disappear, they are abducted.
Broad daylight.
It's over 20 days since children were abducted in
Orire local government and in Askra Uba local government in Borno State. Up till now, nobody has found them.
Yes.
And so, it's just again another wake-up call for government.
Absolutely.
And we hope that these persons will be found.
All right.
Look at the people on the streets of Abeokuta. They were singing Urula Leda.
What does that mean?
It means that, you've caused a big tragedy.
Yeah.
Children cannot go to school. Teachers cannot be.
I cannot even imagine what those children are going through. Who is feeding them? What about the woman with her baby strapped to her back? It's raining there in the forest. What is happening to our children? This is so heartbreaking, really, really, really heartbreaking. I hope that, this is solved sooner than later. I'd like to highlight some security wins before we jump onto other subjects. In a major development from Abuja, Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court sentenced 4 people to death by hanging for their role in the deadly 2022 attack on St. Francis Catholic Church in Ondo State, which killed 40 people and injured hundreds more. In the verdict, Justice Nwite convicted the 4 defendants on 9 counts, citing crimes including membership of the terrorist group Al-Shabaab, kidnapping, hostage taking, and killing over 40 churchgoers. The convicts were among 5 accused people who had been on trial in charges filed by the Department of State Services. This is kudos also to the DSS. Kudos. Well, meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed during a Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing that America is currently in active counter-terrorism efforts with the Nigerian government. Rubio made these comments on Tuesday while testifying during a hearing on the State Department's fiscal year 2027 budget request. Let's take a look.
Nigeria, where many were very concerned about violence against Christians. We are now actively in counterterrorism cooperation with the Nigerian government and Nigerian security forces, including a joint operation a couple weeks ago that took out the number 2 leader of global ISIS operating from inside of the country, and that continues.
All right, great development. And in a significant development from Abuja, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Kevin Aneke, has issued a stark warning declaring that allegations of civilian casualties in the fight against insurgents, whether verified or not, carry far-reaching consequences for mission legitimacy, public confidence, and the reputation of the Nigerian Air Force. Speaking at the NAF's maiden seminar on civilian harm mitigation and response, the Air Chief stressed that modern military success is no longer measured solely by battlefield achievements, but equally by the ability to safeguard civilian lives during operation.
As an institution, we recognize that maintaining trust and confidence of our citizens is very essential to achieving lasting operational success. Accordingly, the Nigerian Air Force has continued to take deliberate steps towards institutionalizing civilian harm mitigation and response mechanisms, especially at the tactical and operational level.
Now, this is a timely and welcome development, especially as communities across Nigeria continue to bear the brunt of military operations against insurgents and terrorists. Now, Air Marshal Aneke also acknowledged that incidents of civilian harm, confirmed or alleged, demand urgent attention and accountability, and called for stronger target verification, improved operational discipline, and rigorous post-action reviews. Now, the NAF is setting a new standard, and Nigeria will be watching. I thought I should highlight all of those. It's important for people to see that, as much as there is insecurity, the security agencies are making efforts to make sure, whether it's the NAF reducing on civilian casualties, or even the United States continuing on their efforts with Nigeria. Now to a trending story. The First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, is at the center of a social media storm after launching a new APC mobilization group as the nation's kidnap crisis continues to deepen. On Wednesday, the First Lady inaugurated the Tinubu Torchbearers, a woman-led grassroots political mobilization group at the presidential villa in Abuja, where she pledged to personally donate vehicles to APC women leaders in 5 states where the party does not control the governorship: Abia, Anambra, Bauchi, Osun, and Oyo, declaring that the vehicles are theirs to keep. Let's take a look.
I have news for the states where we don't have the presence of APC, but we have members of APC. So to all our women leaders, from the woman leader for Abia State, APC woman leader, APC woman leader for Anambra State, APC woman leader for Bauchi State, APC leader for Osun State, APC leader for Oyo State. Your vehicles will be ready before the end of the week. So I urge all our governors, this is how we want our women to be treated. The vehicles are your personal vehicles. You are not giving it to the party. Can you hold up, please? You register the vehicles in your name. Can we have quiet, please? Let me finish. You register all these vehicles in your name. You have money to do that, which we won't talk about, but register these vehicles in your name. And our beloved state governors, the APC governors, buy your women leaders' vehicle. We are not playing politics like before. We are politicians, and people should see the value on us. So this is a blessed party, and we want our women to be empowered.
The irony has not been lost online. Now, Oyo State, where 40 students and teachers remain in captivity, is one of the states receiving a vehicle donation. The First Lady declared, "Our party has shown the rest of the country that there can be democracy without bitterness." But Nigerians online are asking a different question entirely. Can there be celebration without rescue? Let me take Abiola's tweet on X. He wrote, "This is highly insensitive, especially when we're dealing with a national crisis involving the security of Nigerian lives and property. Decency and sensitivity demand that all forms of political grandstanding be set aside at this stage, at least until the safe release of all captives." Another ex-user wrote, "In a period when many Nigerians are worried about the cost of living and insecurity, political gifts will inevitably attract scrutiny. The real question voters will ask is whether government performance, not campaign incentives, will determine the next election." Ayo, over to you.
Okay, gosh, there's so many things on my mind. There's fire on the mountain, run. The nation is in crisis. A number of people are having conversations about that. But the actions of the First Lady, who, a number of people respect and have praised a number of times, would be seen as being grossly on a lack of touch with the realities on ground. And unfortunately, this is a criticism that has trailed her response to ongoing situations in the country. Just yesterday, Oji, you played the video where they were singing the song, "Nah, Mama did this so." Motherhood and Mama, that term Mama, is not just a title that's given or bestowed on. It is earned. And it is based on your actions and how you rally people around. A mother will not be distributing cars and having meetings like this when her children are in the forest. And so these women, who are women leaders in the various states, will go home in their nice flashy cars. And by the way, she said they have enough money to register their cars, and you know what? So it means they even have additional money that's been given to them when her children are in the forest. She doesn't know whether they've eaten. She doesn't know whether rain has beaten them. She doesn't know whether they have, of course, they don't have proper shelter. She doesn't even know if they are alive. And here are we, just politicking. The challenge with politicking, Oji, is that it makes you sometimes forget governance. She was not elected by the Nigerian people. But if she can receive the praise as the mother of the nation, and her mama be this, unfortunately today, I say that she has not acted in the way that the mother of the nation would act. Beyond that, on the other side of things is that I understand the perhaps meaning that women cannot just play the back seats. They must be rewarded as well for their efforts when it comes to mobilization, grassroots mobilization, as she was saying, the old order of things. So she's often says she champions the causes of women. However, good gesture, very wrong timing. And then maybe we should begin to probe as well. All this largesse, where is the money coming from?
All right.
Well wishes.
All right. Did you say well wishes?
Yeah, remember last time?
Yes, she has a foundation that people donate.
What is the Nigerian constitution against gifts?
Against gifts. Okay. Well, all right. Like Ayo has said, it appeared to be wrong timing. But we're going to continue on this conversation. But first, what do you think about our stories? Join the conversation. Use the hashtag What's Trending with Ojiokwe. We're reading your comments. We'll go on a short break now. When we come back, What's Trending will...
You have seen their madness. This is a country where they support idiocy. A country where everything goes, including stupidity goes. Nigeria is a very shameless country. Very, very shameless country that they accept anything. That is why I play some of their videos. For you to see the mindset of the people that you are with. And those of you who think that somehow that the Zoological Republic is going to be better. You're joking. You're a joker. If you think that somehow Nigeria is going to be better, you are nothing but a joker. Continue to joke. Continue to joke, but I only pray that by the special grace of Chukwu that your joke will not lead you to your grave. Because people do not want to be serious about themselves. Everything is a joke. In a country where you know that there is no hope. There is no hope anywhere. No atom of hope. Nobody can even talk of having a hope in Nigeria. But yet, people pretend that all is well. And people continue to go about their daily businesses. Even when the situation is getting worse every day. The reason I play their program, I always explain, is to show you what it looks like in Nigeria. To show you what the Zoological Republic looks like. For those of you who are having hope that somehow miracle will happen and you have a same country. That is not going to happen. Sorry to disappoint you. That is not going to happen. Because it is going to be worse. It is going to be worse. And every day you are going to see a worse situation than the one you have seen already. So wherever you are watching from, let us go to the next one and see what information they have. Our duty is to continue to bring details to you directly from their own conventional media for you to see the madness that is going on in the Zoological Republic. Let's watch. Let's see this.
To ensure the safety of the citizen, especially young children that go to school in search of knowledge.
This morning, Nigeria's Senate demands action to rescue all your victims as it expresses worry over worsening insecurity. 4 Owo church massacre convicts have been sentenced to death by hanging. Special guests on the road to 2027, Hakeem Baba Ahmed, national leader of the PRP, shares his thoughts on what a fragmented South means for an ambitious North. To discuss the conduct of the NDC primaries in Imo, we have former lawmaker Dr. Uche Nwoke. And Babidele Atoyebi gives his view on Tinubu's triumphs after 3 years in office. In Business with Roger Sudiri, a sign of foreign investor confidence in Nigeria as capital inflows jumped 84% in the first quarter.
Nadie oyó entonces
In sport, with Aaron and Arizona, it's 2 apiece after the Super Eagles friendly with Poland. On what's trending with Ojiope, they're rounding up the beggars in Lagos. It could be political. Good news, arise, Sir Idris Elba. King Charles confers it for keeping up his good work. On Well Breathe with me at Adefemi Akisanya in London, Trump says peace could come this weekend. We've had it before, and he'd meet the invisible Ayatollah in the future. Ukraine hit St. Petersburg as Putin's Global Expo is getting underway in the city. I'll also bring the papers presenting top stories from home and abroad. All of this coming up with Ruben Abati, Ayo Mayo Ese, Vimbai Mutinhiri Ekpeyong, and Ojiope. This is The Morning Show.
Good morning out there. We begin the news today with reactions to the rising insecurity in Nigeria. The Nigerian Senate yesterday expressed worry over the worsening wave of kidnappings and violent attacks across the country and demanded the immediate rescue of abducted school children, teachers, and other victims in Oyo State. The upper chamber warned that the growing attacks pose a serious threat to national security. Amid the rising insecurity, calls to probe military spending was rejected in the Senate. Instead, the Red Chamber pushed for the need to strengthen and expand the Safe Schools initiative around vulnerable schools across the country. However, under this initiative, no fewer than 603 students and teachers have been kidnapped between March 2024 and May 2026 as poor implementation of the 145 billion naira Safe Schools initiative exposes pupils to attacks. Reacting to the rising cases of abduction in schools, the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has warned that it will not hesitate to call for a nationwide industrial action to support the Nigerian Union of Teachers should governments at all levels fail to address the crisis decisively.
Also, gunmen in the early hours of Wednesday kidnapped the younger sister of the immediate past Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, and her twin children in the Ilewura area of Challenge in Ibadan. Reacting to this, the presidential candidate of African Democratic Congress, ADC, Atiku Abubakar, said the abduction of his sister and twin nephews of former Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu, underscores the failure of the government and that no one is safe again under President Bola Tinubu. The former vice president said the fact that kidnappers could strike in such a prominent public space without fear of interception spoke volumes about the worsening security situation in the country.
Well, staying on security, a federal high court sitting in Abuja has sentenced 4 men to death by hanging for their role in the 2022 terrorist attack on St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, Ondo State. Justice Emeka Dimite convicted Idris Abdul Malik Omeza, Al Qasim Idris, Jamiu Abdul Malik, and Abdul Halim Idris on multiple terrorism-related charges and ordered that they be hanged until they are dead. A fifth defendant, Momo Otuo Abubakar, was discharged and acquitted after the court found insufficient evidence linking him to the crimes. Meanwhile, Nigerian troops have recorded a major breakthrough in ongoing counter-terrorism operations in the northeast, eliminating more than 50 terrorists, including a senior ISWAP commander, during coordinated military offensives in Borno State. Among those killed was Khalifa Umar, a member of the ISWAP Shura Council and one of the group's key commanders.
All right. Well, first of all, Dr. Bat, it's good to see you in the Lagos studio. We had been actually with us yesterday, but always great to have you on the table. Of course, this morning we continue on the conversation of the news, of course, dominating the headlines this morning is around insecurity. And to be quite frank, it is interesting or shocking to see the spread of the cases of kidnappings, abductions, terrorism across the country. We're still on the Oyo case where over 40 children, babies, toddlers, teachers were kidnapped, still in captivity. As in your state yesterday, as I was mentioned earlier on, the younger sister of the immediate past Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu, and her 2 young children, teenage children, were kidnapped in perhaps what is said to be broad daylight, the audacity and brazenness of these criminals. And then in Zamfara State, it's reported that some polytechnic students, numbering about 7, were kidnapped as well. We also know that in Mina, in Niger State, his staff was said to have abducted children of his employer. So you can see how this is spread across the country and why this is a matter of national concern. Therefore, you would understand why it was a big topic in the House yesterday, Senate yesterday, and conversations varied. Of course, it was led by, a motion was put forward by Senator Buhari from Oyo North Senatorial District, where he talked about paying serious attention, or where he brought on actually the issue of the country's future and direct attacks, these kidnappings as a direct assault on the country's future, bearing in mind that it is schools and children in many instances that are targeted. Yesterday, when we were speaking to Obadeoye, who was on ground in Oyo State, he spoke about how there was fear in the hearts of the community members, how some students have taken to wearing mufti, casual clothing, or going for informal lessons because of the fear of going to school, because they are not guaranteed their safety. We also looked at the fact that the students are currently writing their senior secondary certificate examination by WAEC, and how this might prevent them from actually going to school to write these examinations, or even worse still, if they are able to write these examinations, might not be in the right frame of mind to perform very well. So it is a serious matter. And then an area that was discussed, which we brought up with regards to the role of the Senate in tackling insecurity, is accountability. And a big question was raised around the Safe School Initiative, and I believe that all Nigerians should pay attention to this matter. Recall that when these incidents around kidnapping, insecurity began again to raise its ugly head last year, the Senate had an ad hoc committee led by Senator Oduzo Kalu to investigate the sums of money that have been allocated to this area. And when they interviewed, or when they grilled the national coordinator of the Safe School Financing Office, Hajia Ilya, she mentioned and she talked about the distribution of the funds, and it beggars belief to understand why huge chunks of money was going into consultancy and operational needs and going to the police and SCDC, and a miserly sum went directly to the Ministry of Education. That is a big question that has been left unanswered. I said yesterday that a lot of times we are reactionary. It's when things like this happen, they start running helter-skelter, or let us have a probe, let us investigate. When we could have prevented this from happening by investigating where the money from the Safe School Initiative went to. If this had been judiciously spent, perhaps we would have had perimeter fencing in these schools, which Oba Adeoye confirmed yesterday did not exist in the school. How can you send your ward to school and there is little or no protection in light of the security situation in the country? Surveillance equipment, hardly any school in Nigeria has this. Where is the money that was allocated through the Safe School Initiative? Upwards of 145 billion naira from international organizations, the private sector. Where has that money gone to? So instead of a talk shop and saying, oh, let's come again, we talk, let us deal with these issues. Corruption is the bane of the society. We have lost a lot, including our lives and security and a sense of safety of Nigerians as a result of this. So what we want the Senate to do is not to talk and give moments of silence. Yes, that's empathetic, but we want investigations and a follow through. This investigation is still ongoing. In December last year was suspended because of time, but hopefully we can get to the detail of this, but that's what we are asking for the Senate. Let us get to the bottom of this. Who are the people responsible for the Safe School Initiative funds that have not yet been accounted for?
Absolutely, very well said. I think I want to begin by commending those senators that resisted the appeal to fall into the trap of performative sympathy. Because that's what it's called when you have the authority to intervene in a situation, but you rather offer your sorrows, your worries, your condemnation, and your consolation. So it was good we saw some proactive language from a handful of senators yesterday. Senator Adams, Senator Sam Adams, Let's look at the numbers. 1,954 children have been kidnapped since 2014. This is according to a report from Premium Times. They categorize what they call major kidnappings. One under Goodluck Jonathan. Under the full Buhari tenure, they record 10 incidents. Now, under the current administration, they record 9 incidents. If you look at different publications, they recorded at 7. We're looking at 3 years with such a huge spike. In fact, the findings say that the frequency has increased by 401%. This is a crisis. But let's break it down and see what that really means when we look at some of the interventions from the National Assembly yesterday. Ayo has already broken down what the Safe School Initiative concerns look like at the moment, and we continue to wait to hear what the findings of that, beyond findings, let it translate into action, into these funds being dispersed and mobilized to where they need to be used. There was the question of military audit. Now, when we look at a military audit, there are several things that come to mind. There's a question around auditing how the military is spending their money. And then Senator Adams Oshiomhole also brought up the issue of the military that were asked to move from their base in Kebbi State, which led to the abduction of those students last year. And he was saying, why has no further inquiry gone into who asked those soldiers to leave their post? Now, that's an operational audit. Let me start with the financial audit. We ask ourselves, what is there to even audit? If you look at the numbers with regards to capital, with regards to money released, budget performance for our defense budget, it is deplorable. In its entirety, the defense budget for 2025 was over 4 trillion. Just over 1.1 trillion was released. That's a 26% budget performance, meaning that the military is not getting nearly as much as it needs to be able to deploy all of the operations that it needs. So there's a financial issue involved as well. Yes, that 25% should still be audited, because the argument there is that a bulk of that expenditure is going towards personnel. Defense economists talk about the capital to overhead and expenditure ratio, where you're supposed to ensure that capital expenditure actually surpasses personnel expenditure, especially in this type of technological warfare. However, in our structure currently, the bulk of the budget is going towards military welfare, which is reported to not even meet the needs. Some inquiry and some reform needs to happen there. Now let's go to operational audit. The operational audit, as I referred to earlier, would speak to incidents such as that in Kebbi State. The United States Commission on International Religious Freedoms released a publication last week where they were saying that they allege that collusion within the army and the police with these militia is also a very big part of why the war against insurgency is facing so many challenges. So that inquiry needs to happen. Senator Sani Adams made a great point, Sani Musa, made a great point when he said, well, in the United States, we see Pete Hegseth subjecting himself to grilling on a regular basis. He answers for the budget. He answers questions around the operationalization. In fact, he addresses the media on a very regular basis to let us know what the military activities are and where they're going. But in this instance, I have to applaud the defense, because yesterday there was quite an insightful briefing on where we are with our defense activities and a lot of information shared. But let it not be a fire brigade approach. Now let's conclude with a point that we landed on yesterday that we continue to reiterate, which is arrest, prosecution, and conviction. In this instance, we say congratulations to the DSS yet again for being able to fulfill this process. Almost poetic, because it's almost 4 years, June 5th, 2026, that's tomorrow, I believe, will make it 4 years since this calamity, this tragic incident took place in Ondo State. Now the 4 have been sentenced to death. The question is, will those who have the power to sign off on that death sentence, on the actual death warrant itself, be able to sign off on it so that the sentence can be fulfilled? Because that is our challenge with the death sentence. Nobody wants to be the hangman.
It was not just the Senate that empathized with the killings in the local government area, Ahoro Isile, the community is called, and also Askira Uba community in Borno State. So in both places, over 80 students and teachers were abducted. And so I think it's only normal that the Senate, the National Assembly, returning from recess, and the party primaries then decided to acknowledge that matter. So, yeah, I get the point about showing empathy and all of that. But the issue is about not worrying. You say the Senate worries about rising wave of abductions. Now, what is the Senate or the National Assembly generally suggesting as concrete actions that should be taken? Because the people that are affected, either in Borno State or Katsina or your state or elsewhere, are the constituents of these politicians. You see, they are the main reason why they are there, to represent their interests and to make sure that the objectives, fundamental directive principles of the Constitution in Chapter 2 and fundamental human rights under Chapter 4 are respected to the letter within the spirit of what the law says. But we can say, yes, it's good for them to empathize. However, at the Senate President was saying that the clerk of the National Assembly should quickly organize a pending national security summit. No. Nobody should organize any national security summit, because it just takes simple common sense to know the issues involved in this matter. Olarotime, distinguished dramatist, Nigerian dramatist, wrote a play titled Holding Talks. That what we do in Nigeria, that was written maybe in the 70s, that what we do in Nigeria, or at least 80s, that what we do in Nigeria is that when an issue comes up, Nigerians organize summits, conferences, talks, seminars, workshop, whatever name we call it. At the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. We don't want a summit where people will gather and they will just spew political rhetoric, and then at the end of the day, nothing will come out of it. There is enough documentation, there is enough knowledge, there is enough intelligence for everyone, including my mechanic, to know that what we need is for the security agencies to continue to ramp up their activities and to continue to design strategies to confront these criminals, otherwise known as terrorist bandits, insurgents, whatever adjective you want to assign to them. The other thing, therefore, is to recognize that this is a national emergency. Yes, the Senate President, Ursula Pagi, he got it right in that regard, that this is a national emergency that requires collective responsibility and that it is not a partisan issue. And the point that he made about not making it partisan, yes, that's a good point. You know, it's admissible to the extent that you've been seeing a lot of political talk. Atiku Abubakar saying, I think it's the NSA is wrong to say this was inherited from the PDP, and other politicians saying this is not the PDP problem, this is a APC problem. No, it is all our problem. And all of us have a responsibility to do this. But the most unfortunate thing that I saw yesterday, well, you may say it's okay, it was the right thing to do, holding a minute silence for the poor gentleman who was beheaded in the Owerri incident. I think that's Mr. Oyedoku, and then Mr. Adegoye, and then a child who was also killed. The National Assembly of Nigeria should not become a funeral parlor. This is our concern. It should not be a place where they will be going to have a 1 minute silence for people who have been killed, because the state is failing the people. And that point must be underscored. Yeah, 1 minute silence, yes, commonsensically you say it's okay. But that should not be the principal business of that National Assembly. And as for the issue about audit of the military spending, that was turned down. No, the armed forces of Nigeria is not above the laws of Nigeria. The National Assembly's duty is that of oversight, and it's so stated expressly in the Constitution of Nigeria. So why would anybody suggest or vote that the National Assembly cannot probe the Nigerian military? No, that is unacceptable. That's a big point about that. And as for the Safe Schools Initiative, I was in government when this Safe Schools Initiative was introduced. We had Gordon Brown coming around, was leading the process in collaboration with the Nigerian government. And the Jonathan administration took it up. But subsequent APC administrations have failed on that score, because the whole idea is to say that the school should be a safe environment for the child. And that is linked to the idea of, the rights of the child, the rights of young people, and all of that. And the basic principle about the environment, Section 20 of the 1999 Constitution, talks about how environments should be safe, whether it's the forest. It expressly mentions forest. But we are not talking about forest. We are talking about schools. So safety is important. And then you have institutions where children who are 3 years old, 14 years old, have been abducted from their schools. I think it's more unfortunate. And I commend the Christian Association of Nigeria for declaring 3 days of mourning. But we can mourn for 3 days and call on God. But each time we call on God, we should be reminded that we are calling on God because human beings have failed Nigeria. Because it's not God that is causing the problem. It is human beings, it is the way we have arranged our country that is causing the problem. Finally, I agree with the view expressed also on the floor of the Senate that, okay, don't politicize security, but it's important that government also does its part. The 4 persons who have been sentenced to death in the Owo massacre. The Owo massacre happened on June 5, 2022, at the St. Francis Xavier Catholic Church. It was Pentecost Sunday. People were in church, they were worshiping God, and around 11:30,
the attackers chased the vehicle and fired repeatedly at them. He added that they managed to escape to the Dugbe Divisional Police Headquarters for protection before the attackers fled. Ajibola, who sustained serious injuries, was later rushed to the Union Teaching Hospital in Oshobo. He was said to be on the danger list as at the time of this report. Reacting to the incident, the Osun State Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Kolapo Alimi, condemned the attack and called for a thorough investigation. He urged the police to investigate the matter professionally and without bias. Meanwhile, heavy security presence was observed around the presidential villa in Abuja this morning ahead of a planned protest demanding the release of abducted school children and teachers still being held by terrorists in different parts of the country. And soldiers, police officers, and operatives of the Department of State Services (DSS), the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC), the Vigilante Group of Nigeria, and the Nigerian Immigration Service were deployed to strategic locations around the villa. Security personnel mounted checkpoints and erected barricades on major roads leading to the presidential villa. The restrictions affected both pedestrians and vehicular movement, preventing many workers from accessing offices in the area. The development also caused severe traffic congestion around the Federal Secretariat, the National Assembly, and the Supreme Court corridors, forcing motorists to seek alternative routes. Many commuters were reportedly stranded as a result of the gridlock. Now, according to reports, the planned demonstration was called by human rights activists and the African Action Congress AAC presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore, alongside the Take It Back movement. Organizers said the protest was scheduled to commence at Eagle Square before proceeding to the presidential villa. The protest was aimed at demanding the immediate release of school children, teachers, and other victims abducted across different parts of the country. The organizers also called on President Bola Tinubu to secure the release of the captives or resign his position over what they described as the government's failure to adequately protect lives and property. The planned demonstration comes amid increasing public concern over recurring kidnappings and attacks on schools. Many Nigerians have continued to demand improved security, safer learning environment, and greater accountability from public officials. Now, in a very recent development, popular Yoruba Nation activist Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, has claimed that he knows the politicians responsible for the kidnapping incident in Oyo State.
He also threatened to reveal their names and identities if such politicians do not cease from their criminal actions. Igboho made the claim and submission on Wednesday while speaking with the new executive members of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, led by Akintaye Babatunde, at his residence in the Soka area of Ibadan. The activist, who spoke in a video that has gone viral on the internet, also added that he can personally fight the bandits, but all his efforts so far have not been approved by the state government. He also denied demanding money from the administration of Governor Sheyi Makinde to rescue the victims who were recently abducted by terrorists from schools in Orire local government area of Oyo State. Igboho also alleged that those behind the kidnappings are trying to make the country ungovernable for President Bola Tinubu, just as they did during the time of former President Goodluck Jonathan. Let's now take a listen to Sunday Igboho in a very short clip speaking to the NANS delegates and talking on what he can do to rescue the abducted children if given the permission.
But if you saw from better or losing the belly on my store, we might have more. I know that. I'm not going to go by my God. I want to say, look on belly and want terrorism. They want me, don't money, ammunition, don't want to. The government said, put your land and back here. One of us is about to move on. I want to know.
That was Sunday Ade, more popularly known as Sunday Igboho, speaking on the insecurity situation in Ibadan, Oyo State, saying he knows the politicians behind the situation. Still on the news at 12, human rights activist and politician Aisha Yesufu has confronted leaders of the Nigerian Democratic Congress (NDC) over the handling of the party's Federal Capital Territory (FCT) senatorial ticket. In a viral video, Yesufu was seen challenging party officials, including the National Secretary Ikenna Morgan Enekwezu and members of the National Executive Committee over the process that led to the selection of the party's candidate. The disagreement followed the party's decision not to grant her the FCT senatorial ticket. Party officials reportedly cited her late entry into the NDC as one of the reasons for the decision. She accused the leadership of failing to honor commitments allegedly made to aspirants and party members on how the process would be conducted. The activist specifically criticized the National Secretary, saying public promises should not be made if the party lacked the capacity to fulfill them. She said she was prepared to accept defeat if the process had been transparent and credible. The former aspirant alleged that the FCT senatorial primary was manipulated and decided behind closed doors. She claimed the exercise was repeatedly postponed, venues were changed at short notice, and procedures earlier communicated to aspirants were altered. According to her, a delegate-based system was later introduced instead of a direct primary process originally expected at local government headquarters. Despite describing the process as flawed, Aisha Yesufu said she would not challenge the outcome in court. She said she did not want to waste energy on what she described as a grievance process designed to wear people down. Let's now take a listen to Aisha Yesufu speaking to the leadership of the NDC on this situation.
National Secretary. If the National Secretary did not have quality to work for every local government, then he shouldn't have put out a statement to the world that was going to do. If you do something, we must stand by our word. It is official, it is outside, it is on our official channel. And so therefore, I we don't provide venue for anybody. Provide a venue. How you say level play? I'm not even asking for a level playground. I'm asking for a ground. I was going to represent that I came in to this party. Who does that? I've enjoyed a lot in the last how many days. My name has been dragged all over. And the end of all of that. And I have to
That was Aisha Yusufu, political hopeful within the NDC, expressing her grievances to the leaders of the party. You're still listening to the news at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. In a very recent development, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has donated cars to women leaders of the All Progressives Congress (APC) in 5 states controlled by the opposition. The First Lady announced the donation on Wednesday during the inauguration of the Tinubu Touch Bearers (TTB), a pro-Tinubu support group at the State Board in Abuja. The beneficiaries are the APC women leaders in Abia, Anambra, Bauchi, Osun, and Oyo State. The First Lady said the vehicles will be delivered.
Yes, within the political setup, let's use the emolument, the remunerations that goes to political office holders. Just like over the week, during the week, somebody, the report came where the governor of Kwara State was saying that workers should be paid 100,000 naira, and they are using that saying that they are being very considerate. So I propose, on the platform, I said, if that is what they are saying, if that is what they think is good for the Nigerian worker, let's us also agree that 500,000 naira should be the maximum payment, remuneration to any political official, whether he president or whatever position you hold.
So they should basically be treated as civil servants.
Yes.
Now that people are supposed to be earning 70,000 naira minimum wage, they should be earning the same as well.
Yes, no, at least 500,000 because they are the special people. Let's even do it that way. But you don't mention the sister and the twins of the sister to the minister of former minister of darkness.
Power.
Yes.
Power,
he was more darkness than light, and he was gloating about it, the wealth he made. Politics. He said a lot of things, and he was working for the telcos and the discos more than he could work for Nigerians that pay him salary. So it's unfortunate that they should have gone for him and not the sister and the
Mr. Somi Uranta, that's not exactly a sentiment that VOE 90.3 FM agrees with, right? So when you say, nobody's happy about insecurity, and of course we've seen certain Nigerians unfortunately gloat over it on and off social media, but we cannot say they should have gone for him. And that's why I'm asking the question, could this be politically motivated, in your opinion?
I just see it as nemesis. The Lord of Retributive Justice, coming at him. Because this man dealt with Nigerians. He ensured that something was removed from power. He started charging Nigerians very high, times 3, times 4 of what we were paying before for darkness. He ensured that every month, so that is twice a month, that there is power grid failure, and he ensured that from what we learned, that $25 million are spent anytime there is grid failure. So that became a very big industry. So the grid keep failing, national grid keep failing, and then they were spending this $25 billion into their pockets, I suppose, because I don't see what it amounted to Nigerians. So it is the wealth he has acquired, ill-gotten, that people, just forget about political opponents. I'm sure that the criminals who he has also given more of that place are going to get their own piece of the pie. That's what I think.
Extremely unfortunate. Let's now look at what Sunday Igboho said about claiming to know those behind the kidnappings in Oyo State. He says they are politicians. He says if they do not desist, that he will review their names and identities if they don't stop their criminal actions. And one would wonder if indeed it is politicians that are behind it and you know their name, why are you covering for them? You're saying, oh, this is from the criminal actions. What about the ones that they have already carried out that they should be prosecuted for? Now that is one question. On the other hand, when he says, oh, they are trying to make the country ungovernable for President Bola Tinubu, just as they did during the time of Goodluck Jonathan, how exactly can we measure that? Because some would argue that, oh, there's some people within the APC who have made statements to say, we brought these people in to get Jonathan out. Unfortunately, now it has fizzled into a behemoth that is greater than anything anyone can try to nip in the bud. On the other hand, again, if he says it's politicians that are behind it, is it politicians that are behind it in Kwara, in Ondo, in different parts of the north? Is Sunday Igboho just saying things just for the sake of saying things? He talked about raising the militia of about 50,000 men who are ready to go into the forest to protect the forest of the Southwest. He says he got the approval of the president, but did not get the approval of the state governor. If indeed he got the approval of the president, why would he need the approval of the state governor?
Well, I think Sunday comes across as someone that speaks from both sides of his mouth. I do not see the reason or the logic behind the fact that he said he knows the people who are causing insecurity in Oyo State or Yoruba land, because he's a Yoruba activist. Now, instead of him to reveal their names, name them, shame them, let them be arrested, and let's get those people back. And he's playing politics with the lives of students, with the lives of teachers who were taken away from their school. Without even considering the implication of what he's doing. Because this is actually a triumph of Boko Haramism. That Western education is haram, is sinful. And we are allowing it to go on. These people that came to adopt people in Oyo State, these terrorists, these Mauritian headers and whatever you call them, or Fulani terrorists or whatever, these people are having an agenda, and there's a legitimate Ibadan is a very strategic place. Because when the jihadists were coming to take over Southwest, when they got to Ilorin, they were stopped at Ilorin, so they could not move further westward. But now that they have come to Ibadan, and they are adopting people in different parts of Yoruba land, that means it's a triumph of Boko Haram policies and principles. So if Sunday Igboho has any inkling about the people behind this thing, and he's still keeping their names in undercover, then he had to answer some questions. Maybe he's in cahoots with them. Maybe he's part of them. Maybe he wants to get money from them, because it should be a duty, a civic duty of his to review these people, to round them up and get these children back. But he's playing politics with it, and it's not unfortunate.
Yeah, extremely unfortunate, actually. All right, let's look at the actions of Amotekun since their inception a few years ago. Have they really been able to secure the Southwest, or they've not been given the necessary powers to actually do what they're supposed to do? If they got the kind of support that they needed, do you believe that we will not be seeing what is happening in Oyo State right now?
You see, the Amotekun Club, they are a very active, outfit. But it's unfortunate that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he was in the opposition, all the things he was talking about, state police, the division of power and all that, when he got into power, in fact, when the APC came into power, they abandoned those things, because power is so sweet when it is concentrated in one man's hand. The thing is, without minding the fact that this thing, is hurting the nation, is even casting a very bad light on his government. But, self-preservation, self-aggrandizement, is more preferred. It reigns supreme in their agenda than caring for the people, making a name, making sure that posterity, will live and tell good about his governance system or his administration. They all prefer to acquire what they can acquire today and to help with the names. So it's unfortunate still that we are at the stage where we find ourselves today. Because I think the president ought to have equipped these people. Instead, you know what they need? In fact, if they cannot do the same police, let them start this kind of Southeast had their own Eastern Security network, or if it's the
How did that work well for the Southeast? Which actually brings me to my next question. Igboho says he wants to raise ability, and we have Amotekun, we have the vigilante network. There is a fear of having different, actors who are non-state, so they may be backed by the state and with weapons. The immigration service already carries weapons. The Nigerian police carries weapons. Customs are saying they want to do the same. It's so many different outfits in this nation with weapons, and sometimes we see them instead of using it to protect the people, use it to intimidate the people. Do we really need more armed personnel or armed security in Nigeria?
Two things are involved. As for some people, his outfit is not to protect the Southwest. It's a political, thuggery arm to ensure, like he has stated, that nobody who is not going to vote for his president is going to be allowed to campaign in Southwest. But I have also stated in other fora that decision of his, now that I said the president has allowed him, to create this group, this armed group, that is an invitation to anarchy. Because if his focus is not to protect, Southwest from banditry and terrorism, if it is to use as a political thuggery organization, that means other regions too will also have to do something. That means at the end of the day, you're only going to campaign in your own region. And that cannot be good for Nigeria. It cannot be good. So that is only out of it. Then on the other hand, the president ought to, it's usually when there is failure of governance. Otherwise, all these things could have been harmonized. Instead of creating, different groups, you put them together and then you train them and give them all the necessary equipment. It's not difficult to rout out this banditry and kidnapping and terrorism in Nigeria. It's not difficult, but because there are vested interests in it, people who are in government, who are benefiting from it, who have a hidden agenda, so that's why the whole thing is like that, because even this government it has been said over and over that there are Boko Haram members, terrorists, sponsors and enablers in the government. And some of them have been speaking up. When somebody will tell you that, look, that these people are our brothers, they are our brothers, another one will tell you that, look, they are like the prodigal son. Even the president say we should pray for them. How do you pray for people who are killing and maiming and destroying lives? Instead of sending them to hell, you will now have a policy again to reintegrate them after you must have de-radicalized them. How come they have not, if they are not, they don't know what is, they are not complicit, how come they not, profile the people, the list given to us by United Arab Emirates, and let them, try them, and deal with them? They don't want to stop this thing. Maybe there is something they are gaining from it. Maybe it's a political tool. I don't know for sure. But all the signs are there that this thing, there's no plan to stop it.
All right. Where does that leave Nigerians, though? Anyway, we'll continue to call on the federal government to actually do what they need to do for Nigerians and secure the lives and properties of the people, because that is why they were voted in. I want us to talk about the controversy surrounding the NDC primaries, especially in the FCT. Aisha Yusufu was hoping to head to the Senate, but unfortunately she was denied the ticket, and she has been more or less raking towards the party leaders, talking about how they more or less disenfranchised her, but said she will not challenge the outcome in court. You heard her outburst. What do you make of it?
In fact, I will ask her to challenge it in court. You see, I don't like, I fell in love with NDC, especially when the chairman of the party said, the party leader said that they are not going to ask me to pay for nomination form fees and all that until they are selected. And all that. I said, look, this is people friendly. But you shouldn't, that party should not act like the ones they want to come and, they want to put out of office. Because if you are coming on a rescue mission, they say, he who goes to it must come with clean hands. So they should not be found wanting. I know it's a party that just got put together not up to 3 months ago, and they are making so much waves. They could be overwhelmed by a lot of things. But I want the intent of the people, the motive behind the minds of the operators of that party to be genuine. Because you cannot take, just like Mr. Litoki always say, that if you want to remain an excellent person, you cannot come with an honorable person. You cannot come to the office very dishonorably. That's why we do not want a lot of these other parties. When they are coming up, we say, look, they are on the right trajectory. If they derail, we will still talk about them and condemn them in all totality. I am surprised that someone like Aisha Yusufu, is not given a ticket, who is that who will give ticket? Look, an Aisha Yesufu is a better candidate to give a ticket than an Omagege. An Omagege that went, and stole a mess in the house, and the Senate, yes. He saw the mess under Buhari and all that. Aisha Yesufu has been fighting. We should give power to people who are people friendly, who are people minded, people focused, and not people who are. I don't have a problem with Omagege, but if he can get a ticket in whatever way that they have to do for him, and Aisha Yesufu deserve more than that because she stands head and shoulder above a lot of people in that party. So they should give her. I will ask her if I find a way to reach out to her. She should go to court. That's why the courts are there. Even though some people are trying to, pocket the courts, she should go to court. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Somi Uranta. Just before you go, I want us to quickly talk about Nigeria's First Lady distributing, or do we say donating, or do we say dashing out or giving out luxury cars to APC women leaders in states controlled by the opposition. That is Abia, Anambra, Bauchi, Osun, and Oyo State. So these 5 states are not controlled by the APC. And then in this state, she says, look, you have this cars, it is yours, register it in your name, you can use it to do whatever you want to do for your community and use it to work for the party. Is this a kind of, do we say an inducement, or is it a kind of encouragement to encourage these women to work more? If you hear the commentator on that video, he was talking about, oh, this is what they do with our money. This is what they do with the loans that they collect. And Nigerians' right to be aggrieved when the First Lady decides to make these donations.
You see, someone will ask, what is the work of the First Lady? Does she have a budget in the Nigerian constitution? Even her office is non-existent in the face of the law. But you see, this is what they do. The very guy man said he was given sorry million for him to, switch. He said, he told them that he's apolitical. A lot of people, they just go, instead of using the resources of the state to bring about the good life for the people, but they would prefer to buy some few individuals and use those to change the minds of others. I don't understand. What is governance? What is politics? Governance is all about bringing the greatest good to the greatest number of people. But they have turned everything upside down by making governance become, the greatest good for the fewest number of people. And that's an aberration to governance, to democracy. So I don't understand. This is pure bribery and corruption. And she's telling them, keep the car, register it in your name. Just like you said, this is what they do with the money they are borrowing. And unborn generations of Nigerians are already indebted. Their future is mortgaged. And we are here. Look at us. We are not ashamed of us. That what we are bequeathing to the next generation is a mortgage future. Is indebted that they know nothing about. Children unborn will come to pay debt that their fathers, look, we talk about prodigal sons in the Bible, but these are prodigal fathers and mothers. It's unfortunate.
Extremely unfortunate. Mr. Somi Uranta, I want to thank you for your time, for your perspective, for your analysis on the news at 12 this afternoon. I do appreciate you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you very much. You have been listening to the news at 12, right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. We told you that the Osuakon Party chairman battles for his life after surviving assassination attempt. Also, heavy security around Presidential Villa ahead of protest over abducted pupils. Sunday Igboho claims no politicians behind Oyo kidnappings, and drama as Aisha Yesufu confront NDC leaders over FCT Senate ticket. And that is a wrap on the world. These are 12 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Chioma Innocent. Good afternoon to you, and thank you for listening. Do stay tuned in the Nigeria debate with myself and Solomon Ofem. We'll come your way at 1:30 p.m.